My name's Daniel Kidd. I'm the project coordinator for the Pilbara Cities Education Projects. The Pilbara Cities Education Projects are two distinct projects. The first one is called Attraction and Retention and the second is called E-Learning ICT, and both of those projects work to support schools, teacher development schools, and to support teachers across the region in conjunction with the teacher development coaches. So their aims and objectives are aligned nicely to support the management of the Australian curriculum. So there's three elements of the ICT e-learning project. The first one is to provide schools with increased internet bandwidth. The second part is to provide Connect, which is an online place for teachers, students and parents to share resources, to monitor their students' learning. And the third part is to provide each school with video conferencing technology. The initial benefits that we've seen so far of the video conferencing technology are the reduction of the barrier of distance across the Pilbara region. Good morning everybody, welcome to today's video conference. We're going to be discussing the Australian curriculum and in particular how the teacher development coaches are supporting teachers across the region with the management of that. And we're seeing schools starting to plan and look at how they can implement that technology in a variety of ways, not just meetings but actually learning and to improve student learning outcomes in the classroom.
Sue Cuneo, Regional Executive Director for the Pilbara. My role for the Department of Western Australia is to help schools to build their capacity to deliver education to all students across the region and to work with schools to build the leadership capacity of our principals to lead their teachers in improving effective teaching and learning delivery in the classrooms. So we have what's called the Karratha network of schools, which covers some remote schools and some town schools and some outlying schools. We have Headland network, which also covers some remote schools, mostly town schools, but specific schools, the Pilbara Behaviour Centre and the School of the Air. So there's different contexts. And we have what's termed the Karratha network, which is very different because that's actually two main town centres that share a network, Newman and Tom Price. As part of the development, we were very fortunate to be able to apply for royalties for regions money. So out of that money, we were fortunate enough to be able to identify and to purchase curriculum coaches so that we could provide schools with expertise in the curriculum areas for the first phase delivery for Australian curriculum. And people with the knowledge of and expertise in curriculum to move around the networks to support classroom teachers and classroom practice.
I'm the network coordinator for Australian curriculum history in this area. I was approached by my principal in 2012 to attend the Train the Trainer course down in Perth, where I attended a 4-day program to upskill my own knowledge in Australian curriculum, but also develop presenting skills. And from there, I was able to come back to our network and deliver professional learning sessions for not only my own school, but other schools in our area.
I'm James Brito. I am an English teacher from Karratha Senior High School, and I am also a regional train-the-trainer for the transition program Year 6s to 8. Right now we are on the Professional Learning Institute, and schools have the opportunity in the regions to ask for our assistance in coaching Year 5, 6, 7, 8 teachers in the Australian curriculum in our specific learning areas, whether it be English or whether it be math or geography, etc. And so it gives schools the opportunity to access regional coaches and trainers where they may not have been able to have access before.
We were also able to implement a strategy of identifying and retaining professional coaches.
Coaches sit shoulder to shoulder with teachers, and we support them in reflecting on their classroom practice and also their career aspirations as well. This is done in close consultation with the ACARA professional standards for teachers. We work out where they are at currently, where they want to be, and then we work out how that we can work together to get them there. We set goals and action plans, and a lot of this does revolve around the Australian curriculum in terms of planning, assessment and reporting.
One example is a teacher in a remote school was just having a little bit of trouble planning in the maths of the general capabilities of the Australian curriculum. So I've been doing coaching sessions with him. He actually sometimes might come to Newman a little bit, and I'll go out to the remote school a little bit, and between us we've come up with a planning grid that caters for the proficiency strands and the content strands, and we've also used that same planning grid for assessment to make sure each area in the proficiency strands and the content strands are being assessed.
So one of my coachees I've been working with, we've been looking at the Australian curriculum and how to develop a template or a document that encompasses all of the aspects of the Australian curriculum. So we've looked at some of the teacher development schools around Western Australia and looked at their templates, and then we've worked together to devise a template that suits her planning needs.
I meet with my network principals at least twice, or scheduled twice a term, to discuss what their priorities are and how they're working together, and the support that they can provide one another and the less experienced principals within their network.
The absolute mandate now is to collaborate. So the days of sitting as a high school in a town anywhere and not collaborating with your primary schools in your network, or indeed collaborating like we do at a regional level, I think the days of not collaborating are long gone, so that no one can be an expert in everything. And I guess we're recognising more and more that within our region there's a great pool of expertise, and how we access that is really the trick, given that geography can spot against us. So using technology and I guess using the expertise that sits in those towns across the region is where the power sits.
We've been able to leverage off the catalyst that has been the implementation of the Australian curriculum, and that's been at the core of the work that many, in fact all of our networks have done, and they've focused on the phase 1 implementation of the Australian curriculum to really focus what needs to happen in classroom teaching and learning, and what the standards are, and the planning and the engagement of professional learning that teachers have actually had to undertake to feel confident about delivering that and reporting on that in 2015.
So we've seen quite a few changes and trends in not just teaching and learning, but in the makeup of the school populations and the transiency of staff. So we're about to be faced with what's a bit of a crisis staffing wise, and in a hard to staff region already, those issues are further compounded. So things like technology, including video conferencing technology, the teacher development coach role, those things were really designed to help teachers feel more supported, to make them want to come here and to make them want to stay here. So it's a really big issue in the Pilbara and other regional areas around Western Australia, but these two projects, and in particular the technology and teacher development coach side of things, are really making a noticeable difference already.